Today's video, we're going to talk about ad funnels I most commonly use to make lots of cash online. These ad funnels, or AKA formulas, are a way to consistently market a product or service successfully using online ads as a way to do it. It doesn't matter what you're selling, one of these three main models are going to work for you to sell whatever you have, assuming it is in demand. People want it, it's price competitive, it's useful, there's demand for it. You'll be able to make it work with one of these three basic ad funnels that I have used dozens of times on each one of these to be able to generate millions of dollars in sales a year consistently and profitably for the hundreds of clients that we've had at our advertising firm and also the e-commerce companies that I also run and operate on the side, which got several of those as well. With that said, here, I'm going to go through what each one of these three models are, how to execute these. If you stay to the end of the video, I'll also go into the results that we're getting and give you actual case studies of different players doing these different models. At least one individual example will be given for each of the three ad funnel types in terms of what we were making for that company in general, in terms of ROI, profit, revenue, that kind of thing. I am Corey Ziman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, a PPC advertising agency that guarantees clients results just as it sounds in the name. What is guaranteed results? Guaranteed results is more profit from your ads before you have to pay a fee. That's our signature motto here. No other agency on the planet offers any kind of a similar guarantees at all, which should tell you about the quality of the information you're going to get here on today's video. I myself have been doing PPC/online advertising for 20 years, 10 of which has been through working with many clients at our advertising firm itself. It's best information you're going to find online about how to put together an ad funnel for yourself that works. So with that said, getting into the content here. So of the three, I mentioned there's three main ad funnels that you're going to use. Yes, there's variants of each ad funnel that I'm going to describe to you, but you should basically put yourself in one of these three different individual buckets and stay there for the most part, because depending on what you sell, you're going to fit into one of these three here in general. That said, also sometimes you're going to use more than one depending on what platform you're on. There's two main categories of advertising online. There's search engine advertising and then basically display ads or everything else. That is, search engine advertising is people that are actively looking for your product or service. You just have to get in front of them and do it better than your competition and you'll make money. Then there's display ads where you're interrupting people on different various places online to sell your product or service. And that generally takes a different ad funnel that totally different than the ad funnel you use to just get in front of the person who's raised their hand and already said, hey, I want to buy. It's just a matter of who am I going to buy from. So with that said, okay, the first one, and with these, the main thing that differentiates each of the three ad funnels I have listed here, or categories of ad funnels, is the amount of steps involved. You either got a one-step funnel, a two-step funnel, or a three-step funnel. And there's usually a fourth step involved if you sell something that's more expensive, and I'm going to go into details on that. But with your one-step funnel, this is your typical thing that you're going to use on Google search ads for when you sell something under $200. Could be product, could be service, or when you're advertising on Facebook and sell something under $200. On Google, it could be certainly when you sell something in terms of service that's more than $200 as well. Anyway, what that is the most simple, the way that people think advertising online works that don't really have any experience is you get an ad in front of somebody you want to sell to, they click on it, they get to a website and they either buy or don't buy, or fill out a form or call to turn into a lead so that they can buy per se, okay? That's pretty self-explanatory. If you cannot make money with online advertising for your business already, and this is all that you've limited yourself to, then you should, very strongly consider or reconsider what you're doing and try to go with a more complex sales funnel. Why? Because just like you cannot get very good results getting married by going up to people in the street and asking if they want to get married, the same thing applies to selling products or services. If you go up too aggressively at somebody, it's going to kind of repel them. Nobody wants somebody that's desperate. To get married to who you want to get married to, it's a seduction process. Even though you got the end goal that you have in mind, you don't want to appear that that's your end goal, and you want to be able to, just like with good sales copy or a good sales video, you say to a person at the very beginning, it's just to get them to listen just another 5 seconds, and then that is to get the user to listen to another 5 seconds or read another line on the sales copy that you have, and before you know it, they're all the way through it. With that said, what you use here to get them here where they're buying something from you has nothing, these two have basically nothing to do with each other. What you're doing here to get someone's attention is just that. How can I get someone that I know would be a good candidate for my product or service to pay attention? Can I capture their attention so that I can sell to them? It's almost just like, the people that sell on the street and they say, hey, everybody step right up. Look at what we have here. That has nothing to do with the product or service itself, but you got to get the attention of the user first, right? You get users' attention can be offering information. It could be a outrageous display or demonstration. There's many ways to do it. And then you take that interest and you slowly turn it into actual demand/interest for your product or service. And you do it one step at a time, and the user doesn't necessarily even know that you're, so-called seducting them. It just naturally happens once you've got their attention. With that said, okay, you can go with a 2-step or a 3-step here. On a 2-step sales funnel that we use very commonly at our firm, okay, what we're gonna do is user sees ad and they're gonna go to our website and this will typically be where we sell something more than around $200. Yes, that product is for sale on that website. You can buy it through the shopping cart, it's there. We already know as advertisers that are experienced here that very few people are just gonna go through the shopping cart and buy right away. There's too many unknowns and there's too much money at stake. You want someone to buy something for $1,000 and to not ask any questions? I don't care how good your copy is on your landing page. Your goal should be to have no questions asked, because that means your copy on your landing page is good and your content on your landing page is good. But generally speaking, what you're doing, to make things as simple as possible to get to millions as easily and as simple as possible for you, most of you guys should be just trying to get the user to call you, and then the sale is made through the phone and building rapport with the user on the phone. Why? Because it gets the user to stop doing whatever they're doing or what they were doing before, which might have been they were reading an article before they got interrupted with your ad, or they were on social media looking at funny photos and whatnot. The longer you talk to someone on the phone, the more likely it is they're going to buy from you, because there's a psychological principle of investment. That is, the more time and effort someone's got invested in, the more likely they're going to want to go through with it, because they don't want to have lost the time that they invested in discovering and finding out about it up front. Your goal, literally speaking, I talk about this all the time, once somebody calls, is to talk to them so long that they feel like that if they don't buy, they basically are getting screwed. And that'll make it something that you sell that may not been as good, close at a higher rate into a sale because of that time commitment that they've made with you up front. You get them on the phone, you build rapport with them and whatnot. And so what you do on your e-commerce site, if we're talking about e-commerce, is you have the product there, and then you, as many ways as you can, encourage them to call. We're online, we're available, call us, text us. You get live chat going. Don't use live chat nearly good enough, and we've had where we were able to double the profit of an e-commerce site just through live chat being done right. What's done right? They get on a product page, and if the product is a 12-pound compound bow, you have the chat bot pop up in the live chat that says, that looks like it's a human. Hey, I'm a 12-pound bow expert. What do you plan on using this 12-pound bow for? I will help let you know if this product is going to be good for your application or not. Then they start chatting, and then a human takes over. But your goal, again, 100% isn't just to get them to go through the whole buying process without talking. A lot of people would like that so they can, sit on a beach somewhere and collect money, But the reality is, it's very hard to make money that way, at least as compared to having a human involved in the process, and there's a second step to make the sale, so to say, which is where the second step comes in. So for an e-commerce site, you have as many, do whatever you can to encourage them to talk to you, because you assume that they have to talk to you before they're going to be willing to buy. And you need that to provide a high enough conversion rate on the traffic you're pulling into the site to pay for the ad spend that you have to pay for to get traffic to the site in the first place. If you're talking about a service here, okay, the same principles apply. You can, call to action on your webpage that sells the service saying to sign up, fill out the form, or you could say to speak to a counselor, fill out this form. What we did, just to give an example, the drug rehab space, what everybody wants to try to do in that space is, when you're ready to, book, call us. No, if you want to make the real money, the true real money, like 3 times plus more money from the same exact ad traffic, you say, a trained drug counselor is willing to listen to your problems. Now, give me a call. And you have a little picture of the person that they're going to talk to on the other side so they can see it, and they can see it's what looks like a easy person to talk to, hypothetically. And then you have the trained counselor, which is a salesperson in disguise, that talks to them for 30 minutes on the phone about their problems. And then guess what? If they're going to go with anybody, you've got them locked down with you. And so now all you got to do is get somebody to your web page and get them to call, and you're going to convert way, way better than what you would have just going for the sale directly. So that's how to do a 2-step on a service, okay? And with that, by the way, as well, the best ads that you can run anymore, by the way, on Facebook are going to be UGC ads or influencer ads. That is, somebody that looks like a customer that's used your product or service before are talking about how their experience with it and using that as an ad. You use that model, if you will. It could be also an influencer reviewing that product or service, or it could be a newscaster on a news station, which is even more powerful. We've been doing that a lot lately. You drive them to your website that has the product or service there, and then you just get them to start talking. However you can get them to start talking, because if you get them to start talking, you're going to close at a super high rate. That in itself is a 2-step funnel that we use all the time at the firm. But people don't want to do it many times, even though I can tell people at our firm, our clients at our firm, that it works extremely, extremely well. They don't want to talk to anybody, and therefore it's hard to, make ad traffic work. And what you do, because people say, well, I can't talk to somebody. Well, then you hire somebody to talk to them. Well, I can't afford to hire someone to talk to them. Well, then you talk to them yourself. Do it until you have enough money coming in to hire the person. Or you could just sit there and wallow in your poorness and just never get to the other side where, you can start hiring people to run everything for you. But that is the famous 2-step ad funnel that we use to make, we made hundreds of millions of dollars over the last 10 years using this exact funnel. A lot of people get this confused. They just expect and want people to just go to their site and get it and buy. And the human touch is so invaluable. And frankly, most of your competitors won't do it, which is why it has such a big impact when you can do it right. You can literally, your entire differentiator at your business simply could be you pick up the phone and you know how to talk about the product or service. And by the way, if that wasn't required in your business, why doesn't Amazon sell whatever you have if you're talking about a product? Because Amazon can easily take an order for that product or a product like it. So why even have a website? Your differentiator and your value add, as they say in the business arena, is the fact that you added the information, the human touch, as a part of that sales process. If you haven't done that, you should try it. That in itself, that piece of advice can easily make you 2, 3, 5 times as much sales revenue per dollar of ad spend, just incorporating it into your business the way that I just said. So that's the famous 2-step that we have. Now the famous 3-step here, we're going to, and this is mainly where you're talking about running ads outside of search engines, okay? The 2-step, by the way, that can work for Google or Facebook traffic, because even if somebody is in market for that rake, you can still send them to your page and be your primary goal that is in disguise, that you just want them to call or start chatting or text you for a quick question, which is another thing we like to do to get the maximum people calling us or contacting us, I should say. When you're talking about this 3-step, it's generally speaking like Facebook ads, even though with this is also search engine ads as well. Just search engine ads that are done to target and tap into people who are looking for information, such as we had a knee treatment product. Okay, we target people that are looking for knee treatment options on Google. They're not looking for a product per se, but then we then take that general knowledge about people out in the general public who have the problem that we can solve, and then we redirect them to our website and we capture that attention and we seduce that person into buying from us, not all at once, but one small micro step at a time. What you have is, whether if you're talking about Facebook ads, you're going to have an ad show up for somebody that shows a demonstration of that product, how it works and whatnot. If it's a service, you're going to show how that service delivers results. If you're able to show it visibly, that's your ideal thing. You have a video ad. Video ads generally work better than static ads or image ads anymore, by the way, just as a small side tip. And so with that, that's what you do. You run that as an ad. With the video ads on Facebook specifically, you can actually have your funnel set up to where if somebody watches more than half of your Facebook video, then you can have them on a certain audience that another ad that will then show up for that person with the actual offer of that product or service. So the initial ad has a demonstration of that rake, how it works, showing somebody it looks like they're showing off the new rake that they bought. But that's just meant to prime an audience that knows what the product is aware of it, and that it works good. Then you have your ad that offers the rake later on, okay? Then your third step comes in when at least when you're talking about selling something for more than $200. They see the ad for the rake, assuming it's a $250 rake. It's like the baddest ass rake on the planet. They get to the website, and then going back to what we were talking about before with the two-step, you're just trying to get them to call or fill out the form or send a text or start chatting through the live chat. You maximize the amount of leads you get, and then you keep talking with them as long as you can, because that's going to increase the likelihood that they're going to buy. And that's your third step in the process. So you take somebody who wasn't even aware that they wanted a rake, you show them how damn cool it is, then you have an ad that shows that you're offering a rake for that rake that's normally $250 for 30% off for the next 2 days, aka flash sale. They click on that ad, and then on the site, they're thinking, yeah, I should buy, but I have a question. Oh, look, they have somebody online ready to talk to me. It's 11 o'clock at night. This is very convenient. I'll call. They talk to you for 20 minutes. They were on the fence before, but now they're for sure going to buy. That right there is extremely, extremely profitable in and itself as well, mainly because it could take people that you know nothing about and go from not wanting a rake at all to somebody who was willing to buy that rake, and you did it in a very effective way that essentially got the person to not have their guard up when you start marketing to them. Because the main reason why user-generated content ads work so well today, where you have a video of a customer that is reviewing your product as your ad, is because A, it doesn't look like an ad, so you're going to pay attention to it and not skip over the ads. Therefore, each ad that gets shown of your, with the ad budget you have, gets paid attention to at a higher rate. But it gets the person, as they're watching it, their guard is not up. They're not looking for every little reason to disbelieve what you're saying about that rake. What somebody says about you is 4 times roughly as more powerful as what you could say about yourself, and you could have the same information there. It's just going to be much, much more believed and well received having it said by somebody else. And then if that's an authority figure, it's even more so, actually. But you show that so that information about what your product or service can fix for the user that seed is planted. So that when you have an ad for that product later on, it's going to make sense for the user right away. Whereas if you went at them right away with the product ad itself, this is the best rake in the world. You can know what a rake is. You can know what the best rake in the world might be like, but until you've seen it before and until you've spent time showing me what that rake does before asking me to buy it, I actually pay attention to it. That is the famous 3-step that we use all the time at the firm. We usually use it through Facebook, but on Google, going back to that, I talked about how we did this for a knee product that will help you fix knee pain, how we can get people looking for ways to get rid of knee pain on Google. And then with that specific product, we redirect them to what looks like a medical journal that talks about the ways that you can fix knee pain that in 2024. Then the end of the article says, of the new ways, this is the way that people are doing it. Click here in order to be able to get it from so-and-so doctor, which then they're going to go to our doctor's website that offers that particular product, and then you have a sale, if you will. So you can do it that way, Obviously, you can run demand gen campaigns on Google, YouTube campaigns on Google, where you can actually, if people have typed in how to fix knee pain in the recent past, you can have your ad show up on YouTube, show up on Gmail through those 2 campaigns, and get a bunch of sales that way as well. Long story short here, if you aren't making enough money from your campaign, marketing it as is, consider just showing a demonstration of what it does. If it is the best baseball bat in the planet, show somebody just clip after clip of somebody hitting homers with this bat. And once they've seen that, at the end of the video, you show what the bat is. If somebody's watched that entire video, now you're going to now market to them the bat with the one-time flash sale, which is the better way to do this, because people that have an incentive to buy now are going to buy now at a much higher rate and overall than if they didn't. That is how you're going to do it. You can also, we've done many times durability tests. My favorite thing to do, even for the companies that I run, is to buy every product out there that is in that category. Basically buy 5 of our competing mailboxes. Of those mailboxes that are in the same price range, we're going to beat the piss out of all 5 of them and show how our product's more durable. That's great content for somebody who is actually in market for a mailbox. And you just use that as your video ad, that if they watch that entire video ad, now you can hit them with the ad for the actual mailbox. If you're talking about YouTube, you can do something similar. If somebody saw one video, you can have them see the ad that should follow them up after that, aka step 2 in the process. You can also do case study, right? You can show, if you have a fitness program, you can show, hello, this is my journey of my fitness journey. And then they start just, talking about what they did to lose all that weight and become toned. And then again, the clues about the product get thrown later in the process so that people are going to pay attention. If you start out talking about, hey, I used XYZ, a lot of people are going to drop off because it's going to look too obvious. It was like a paid for thing, if you will. And you can also do faux articles, like I said with the knee product, having an ad that says, medical journal says this is the way to get rid of knee pain in 2024, and then sending them to a medical journal page, which is really a sales page, which if you want to know how to do that, you just come up with a separate website, is like basically a faux medical journal. And then that article, which is really an ad in disguise or a way to, prime an audience, if you will, you put that on that medical journal. And to save time doing that, you can have when people click the home button, it just sends people to a homepage that says under construction. So you can have benefit of having a medical journal to use in your sales funnel, but without having to have a whole medical journal website. But anyway, that gives you some examples of how to do that 3-stepper, okay? So if you don't know how to actually execute this is exactly what I do for clients that are a firm. You can guaranteeppc.com, and I'll be happy to speak with you about potentially working together and what kind of results we could get for you. I give potential clients an 8-quarter projection, and we can actually show you with the more similar funnels that we've ran in the past for similar products or services, what results we got there, and then what you should be able to get as far as results, sales results, that is, after that, with the proposal we would provide. We don't work with just any client. You got to have something we know we can do well with to take you on. But if you want to see if we can work together, reach out to me at my firm at guaranteeppc.com. We also have ad templates themselves. If we've already sold what you sell, you do yourself a huge favor just buying the template from us to add the landing page, and basically the entire funnel, and just copy paste it into your own account. We can tell you what results you're going to get with it up front, and then you would have everything you need to get those results. Way easier than doing and building all this out for yourself. These templates are so dialed in because we've run them for literally years for different clients at our firm, to the point where people buy these templates to just start whole other businesses. Why start a business from scratch? Maybe it won't work, maybe it will, when you can buy a template to sell an item at a known ROI, and then you just have to get that item. And of course you have to be selling it in a country that our client isn't in, but people have done this, or they'll start lead generation businesses where they're flipping and selling leads. So they generate plumbing leads, they sell them to plumbers. Because the template we have is better than the other plumbers in the area, they can do that and they can use that. So anyway, if you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at guaranteeppc.com. Going back into the content here, basically those are my go-tos, as I mentioned. It doesn't matter what we're selling, we're going to have to pick one of these here to use. More so the shorter funnel, the search engine ads, more so get the shorter funnels typically, whereas when we start marketing to people using display ads, it's the longer funnel and or people that are farther away from a sale. We had a gastric bypass surgery doctor, and we started to target people. Once we got all the people who were searching for gastric bypass doctors, we started getting into, should I do gastric bypass surgery? And tapping into that traffic source. And that funnel in and itself is a whole different funnel than what it is targeting people that are typing in gastric bypass doctors. And this is where people really kick themselves in because they'll try to use the same landing page that they use to promote to people that are ready to buy their product or service, as is to the people who are just looking to see if they should even buy anything from that market. It's too aggressive. It goes back to the married, asking people for marriage thing. It's too much too quick. It's not that they won't buy. You just can't go that aggressively at them up front. And then ultimately, all you're trying to do then is just find every place you can run an ad online. And then of the place you're marketing, how warm is the audience? How aware of the audience is of the product or service I have? And if they're not very aware, you have to do the footwork and make them aware through content that they would actually pay attention to, and then use that to warm up the audience and then sell to them. And then hopefully get them into a sales conversation and sell to them there, like I mentioned before, which is something that very few people want to do because they're so damn lazy, but make so much money. If you can just get a salesperson to talk to people on the phone all day that are in market for what you sell, they are going to pay for themselves. You just have to be able to do it up front, understand the flow of the call, and then just give it to record the calls, give it to your salesperson, and then you're off to the races. If you have any questions, by the way, about anything I covered here or any other ad-related question for that matter, you can leave me a comment in the comment section. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. Beyond that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, you absolutely should, as the information on this channel, I promise you, isn't going to get any better looking for it elsewhere. I can say this confidently and not arrogantly because I spend 40 hours a week doing ad testing at our firm on dozens of ad accounts. I'm giving you live, wire information straight off the presses, and you need that kind of experience to give good advice. Because a lot of things that work in one situation don't work in another, and you got to have broad-based knowledge about what will generally work in what situations, so you don't just do what another guy did that will only work for him. Not only that, but most of the people on YouTube alone that are sharing information about ad strategy don't run any ads at all. They run a couple ads, and they're just trying to pull the wool over your eyes while selling you a course. You don't want that information. So if you're going to pay attention to anything, you want to subscribe to this channel at the very least first. You also should check out my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog itself has just as good of information, and a lot of people will say even better because I have actual step-by-step instructions on certain strategies we use to guarantee results for our clients that you can copy-paste directly into your ad accounts. And so if you're wondering how we guarantee results, it's all kind of laid out there for you to use, and it's all free as well. So most of the people who like the channel like the blog. Beyond that, okay, I mentioned at the start of this video, I would talk about the type of results that we were getting with these particular ad funnels as well. And I'm going to get into that specifically next. With the two-step funnel here, we had a mailbox product specifically. I talked about this earlier. I'm going to go into the results that we got on that, okay? We had the content where we were comparing, different mailboxes to other mailboxes in the space before and trying to use that to get attention and sell. And that did work. However, the two-step worked better than the three-step. Specifically, getting the product reviewed on national TV and then using that ad to drive traffic to the website, then to use the chat bot, the way that we set it up before, to generate sales. With that, we were able to generate at least a 7-to-1 ROI or 700% ROAS off Facebook ads using that exact funnel. However, throw away the three-step funnel where we compared our competitor's product to our product in terms of durability, in terms of usefulness, and we ran an ad there. And if they saw that video all the way through, like I mentioned, you should do with this, then we had a commercial offer for our mailbox product after. Okay, that in and itself got us around a 5-to-1 return, which is still profitable for us. But interestingly enough here, you'll actually make more with a simpler sales funnel, mainly because power of actually getting reviewed by authority is so powerful that even though you are actually saying less, what's being said is so much more impactful that you'll actually make more money with it. Anybody could afford it if they really cared. You go out and you get your product reviewed on a television station, and then you use that as your ad. Why? Because it's going to be so trusted when it comes across someone's newsfeed that they're going to pay attention to it at a much, much higher rate than you just having an ad that shows your product or service off there. We know because we've done this several times now. And usually for like $10,000, $20,000, you can get your product reviewed, which looks like an organic review, like, hey, we found this product and it's cool, on basically any news station you want for that kind of money. And it sounds like a lot, but when you consider it's the base of a multi-million-dollar ad campaign that can work for you, it's literally nothing. You should consider the longer the funnel doesn't mean the better necessarily. That said, in some instances, the longer funnel is going to be better. All right. Specifically for the knee product that I talked about, going into that one, we used as I mentioned before, we had what looks like an advertisement for a medical journal that was going to talk about, or was talking about, the different knee treatments that were available that people are using to get rid of their knee pain. We had an ad that goes to a faux medical journal article. This was through Facebook. We also did this on Google search, as I talked about before. With that, we were getting over a 10-to-1 return on this service. The service itself, though, was closer to $1,000, $2,000 between all the initial or the ongoing repeat visits that they're going to get, and then also the product itself that is being offered, but which is a combination of product and service, just to be clear about that. But with that said, that was extremely effective. And even though we ran ads on people looking that were savvy enough to know about how this product/service works, and were searching for it on Google and would tap into people doing that, that in itself, which while that was right around an 8-to-1 return tapping into the buying searches on Google, it's 2 to 3% of our overall profit that we were making from advertising that product/service. Why? Because there's just not very many people that are aware of that product or service in a localized market that our client is in. If you're going to make the big money online, this applies to most people, you're going to have to figure out how to interrupt people and seduce them using one of these longer funnels to get them primed for wanting to buy it, because as well as I do, people would buy your product or service if they really knew A, what it does for them or what it could do, and B, that it actually legitimately does work and they can believe what you say about it, then they would just buy. So that is why marketing content to someone is the better approach up front, because you think that they should believe you. People don't believe people that they've never seen or heard of before. So you got to spend time just building a trust with your user, A, starting with just the content, and then B, from there, actually having to get somebody on, even after they click on that ad, getting to your website, viewing content there, and then calling somebody and talking to someone there to actually build up enough rapport and trust to get somebody to actually buy from you. Anyway, with that said here, multiple different versions of how you can do this, right? I went through, there's 2-step, 3-step. You can have someone watch a video and then later on that triggers another video ad, or you can have a video ad and then that goes to an article on your website that educates people if they want more information. And then that, you use to then try to get somebody to talk to somebody at your company. And that can be the way that you do things. Regardless of kind of how it's done, you just got to basically understand from the user's standpoint that if you can convince people to trust you, you can get them to buy. What is it going to take to get them to trust you? And if you can get them to trust you, then you can start making money, and it's furthermore scalable. And in terms of results, people searching for foundation repair services on Google, that comes down to having a better ad and a better landing page than your competition on Google. But we were able to generate leads in that space for $100 less or less each on Google. If you know anything about that market, that in and itself is a way to get over 1,000% ROI, actually closer to 1,500% ROI, just doing that. And so if you are a person that wants to keep things simple and do a simple funnel, you can do that. That said, even in that foundation repair space that I just told you about, we're still running display ads for that, which a lot of people would say, well, how do you sell a foundation repair to somebody who's not actively looking for it. And the reality is you can do it because there's a lot of people that have a screwed up foundation that don't know about something called mudjacking, that the mudjacking itself educate people about how this can fix your foundation, it can fix your sidewalk. You have a video ad. Once they see that video ad, then they can see the commercial offer from us, and we can use a 3-step to expand what we can do through Google search alone. So naturally, Google search ads alone can be a quick way to profit. It can also only be 5% of the money you're making truly once you understand how to put together some of these longer funnels, so to say, truly. And while we weren't getting 1,500% ROI on the foundation repair campaign where we were promoting, like, hey, do you have a foundation that looks like this? We can, it easily can be fixed with these modern day techniques, blah, blah, blah. See how people are fixing it and then getting into a video and then using that as our foot in with the person. We were still generating 700% or 800% ROI on that campaign on running YouTube ads, which for the most part, that was what we did there. We did a little bit of Facebook. The one benefit of YouTube ads is you can target people who have searched for anything to do with foundation repair before. Broken foundation, foundation sinking, sidewalk is sinking. Whereas on Facebook, you just got to blast it out there to anybody and hope the person seeing it has a foundation that's screwed up. If your content is good enough and there's at least 1% of the population who have the problem that your product or service fixes, you don't need to target people who have made a relevant search in the past that you can do with YouTube, and therefore you can make Facebook ads work with the lack of refined targeting that YouTube has now. So anyway, that gives you a general idea of what can be done and how that works. That pretty much spells out everything in terms of what I wanted to share with you here today. Like I mentioned before, if you have any questions about anything I said here or any ad-related questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment or question on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. But with that said, I'll wrap everything up with that. Thank you very much for watching as usual.
Remember when I said ad funnels was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.